the video for a few seconds. We'll take a group photo. I request all the participants, please enable your video. Yes, thank you, Raja. We'll take a group photo and then we will begin. Let's vote you, Dr. Chandra will begin the session.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Red Pond Educational Psychological Research Center, Madurai, and Yellow Pond Counseling Center, Madurai, I welcome you all to the first day of the e-workshop on Optimism, Part 1. Thank you so much for all of you for being here and taking part in this workshop. I've got a few things to say to you before we start the sessions. Kindly mute your mics during the session and kindly also participate in the sessions to make it more lively. There is always a space for you at the end of the session. You can discuss, not only just a question, you also can contribute your thoughts to the session. You're most welcome. And we request you to be on time to attend the sessions for all the days to come. And also complete the worksheets and submit regularly as a part of the learning experience. It is also a request from us. You will be given an e-certificate for attending this workshop after completing both Part 1 and Part 2 of the workshop on Optimism. So this is all from us to say to you. And today we have Subhashri Vanamali. She is currently working as Assistant Professor at Madras School of Social Work, Chennai. She is also the founder of Vatsalaya Center for Wellness, Chennai. And as a researcher, she has published more than 25 articles in national and international journals. She has organized more than 100 trainings and workshops at state and national levels. She has been resource person for more than 5 years and in workshops. Much interested in career counseling, psychotherapy, positive psychology, and counseling psychology. So we are very happy to have you here, ma'am. I hand over the session to you to talk about optimism and learned optimism. You're most welcome. The session is yours.
Thank you so much, Chandra. First of all, I really thank and feeling very happy and delightful to again join with this internship. The title of the internship is really actually a very happy moment for me because the optimism is one of the very close to my heart topic. And I really thank Dr. Suresh for for his initiative, continuous efforts, and as well as giving us an opportunity to join like this in this forum. And I welcome all the participants who have enrolled for this wonderful workshop mode internship. So I don't want to delay much. Then let's take into the mode of training itself. So I'm going to start with a story. How many of you are interested to listen to my story? Anaka, yes, say yes or no. Am I audible? Yes.
Ma'am, you are very much audible, but I hear some disturbing voices apart from your voice. Is it from your side or from? I think all mics are mute. Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay. No noise at all.
Okay. I think it's too sensitive. Outside, some vendor is going, some noise is coming. I don't know.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Sure.
Am I fine? Okay now. Okay. So
if it's a natural disturbance, we can't help, ma'am. That's okay. You're clear.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you one question. How many of you for the past 1 week? Okay. So you have to really unmute yourself and talk to me. First, before that, I just want, I have met some of your friends. Some of you are my real friends because you have been there in the previous workshop also. Mr. Raj, Kanaka, all of them are there. Vidya also, I know her. She's been in our, mental health work webinar continuously. I would like to know the other people also. Could you please introduce yourself and also what is your expectation and what is that you are looking forward from this workshop also? Though you have written, I would like to see your face and also please interact with you. Raj. Kanaka?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, my dear.
You want me to speak?
Yeah, please introduce yourself because others are not aware of you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, ma'am. My name is Kanaha Pratap. I am from Nagarkovil. At present, I am doing MSc Applied Psychology, and I'm a soft skill trainer. Before the COVID, I'm doing that soft skill training. I very much interested in learning. So I expected, I want to be an optimistic person. That is the main thing. So that I attended this class. And thank you so much for including me in this session, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very eager to receive your words, powerful words, ma'am.
Thank you. So next to the person can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Devraj. I'm doing PhD in psychology from Osmania University, Hyderabad. So I'm interested to learn positive psychology more and more. That is when I'm enrolling. So optimism is one of the good topics wherein we can instill some confidence in students to this positive psychological methods. I want to learn more into this topic. Thank you.
Very good. Can I ask the next person, please? It is given DB over here.
We have Induja, Miss K. Chandra Ram Kumar, R.K. Kapoor, Srinivasan, Vishaka Parvati. We have got some names here, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to, in the due course, okay, much of delay is not necessary. We will go on to the course, then we will interact in between with all of them. And I request all of you to participate because it is more of an participatory method. And we will make sure that we all are talking to each other, interacting to each other so that we all are also gaining the same kind of a knowledge, sharing the knowledge. And I really want all of you to be tuned for and such a kind of an worksheets and interaction because the training cannot take place if you don't actually reciprocate. Okay, so I would like to start with a story for all of you. So the story talks about the olden days. Once upon a time there was a king lived in the in a kingdom. So this king is a very very flourishing person, and his kingdom was flourishing, and he is a very great king. He's actually an warrior and also well known for his knowledge, wisdom, and as well as for his deeds. And he is a person who really wanted to help his entire kingdom, people around. So this king was actually one day he was sitting and eating in his inner room, and then while he was taking his sweet, that is the dessert. We call it here in Tamil Nadu payasam. It is like an we can say it's a milkshake, a kind of an hot milk, which is prepared, and it is a condensed milk with a lot of dry fruits and also with sugar, and it is very tasty. It is a dessert. So this he really cherished, and while he was eating, he felt that it's one of the fantastic dish the chief cook has made it for him. So he really called the chief cook and appreciated for his wonderful payasam. And he said that this milk ghee, could you please think of preparing it in a whole, kind of a bigger vessel and give it to all the people in the kingdom. That means he would like to distribute as an token of appreciation, a token of love, and how much he values his the fellow being in the kingdom. He would like to supply to everyone and taste that how it is beautiful and how it is tasty and delicious. He really want his kind of an pleasure while he was having that particular payasam, that is we call it as a gear. It could also be transferred to the other people around, and the person said that agreed for it, and yes, I will do, but one problem is we don't have such a huge volume of milk Immediately the minister came with an idea of, we will bring milk. How we will do that? We will ensure that all the people in the kingdom will bring 1 liter or 2 liter, whatever is their capacity. Let them come and pour the milk on the bigger vessel kept in the palace. And the vessel is a golden vessel, big vessel. It has been kept, and they made sure that this vessel is going to be filled with milk and let's all. But king assured that the king really wanted to give the best one, so he said that all other ingredients like sugar, the dry fruits, and ghee which you are going to add, and everything other than the milk, definitely I will give from the palace. Let the people jointly bring the milk so that we all drink together the delicious ghee, the payasam. And then the day came that is supposed to be in the king's birthday also. So the cook was ready. They were announced it that all of you please bring milk and pour it so that we can have payasam together. And the king is going to host this entire the treat for all of you. And that beautiful dinner is going to come along with the ghee. And then the king was awaiting for that, and everybody was distributed with that ghee. And while everybody was tasting, it was not much, but king has given to as a treat, so they couldn't actually talk about it. They all appreciated it. Just kept quiet. But king could, really find out it is not like as it used to be. How the chief cook has made it. He know the taste and he know the difference. Now you find it little different. So he asked, what has happened? The chief cook came along and he has asked, what has happened? I did the same way. I did the same efforts. In fact, I took so much of time to prepare it and I did my best, but I don't know how it has turned to be like this. The chief cook was very innocent and very genuine also. But what has happened, no? The king was really surprised. The minister said that I will solve this issue. He went around the entire kingdom during the night with a different dress code so that people don't identify him. And people are chatting that he came to know that. One of the persons said that I thought the king is going to give us treat, so I thought that I will pour milk. But having said that, everybody is going to come with the milk, so I thought that I will pour 1 liter of water in a big vessel of 100 liters or 200 liters or 300 liters. How this 1 liter water is going to be seen? It is not going to be seen at all. So I will pour 1 liter of water. The other people let them pour milk. So I am not going to be seen at all. But eventually, what has happened? Like this poor guy X, the Y and Z and A and B or C, everybody came with water. Seeing, thinking of that, everybody thought that the other person will bring milk. I will pour water. So what has happened? The entire, very few came with milk because of their commitment. Very few came with the milk because of their genuinity. Very few came with a positive attitude of bringing milk as they have promised, and they enjoyed that, the mixture of water and milk because of so many people around. Okay, so this is a story to start with. Why I'm giving you this story is, if you all come with milk, definitely we will bring you and payasam for you. The ghee we will prepare with a beautiful, proportionate sugar and dry fruits, and we'll make sure that the ghee is been flourishly used, and we will supply you the delicious ghee for all of you. Unless you bring milk, I cannot make payasam out of it. So if you give me water, I can only give that kind of a quality. So please do participate, engage yourself and enrich your knowledge along with us, because everybody is learning in this platform. Thank you. With this small story, I would like to begin this session. The optimism is something which you can learn it. Is a rightly nailed by Martin Seligman, because so far in our life we would have never thought of this could be learned. When Martin Seligman was doing his research, and of course he came out with the kind of a research when he was doing for learned helplessness. all know that the component of learned helplessness in psychology, and people who are not from the background also, I would like to know so that I can help you more in touching up some of the components. Is it everybody is aware of psychology? All are from a psychology background? Can anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fantastic. So you would have known about the concept called learned helplessness, like in yeah, how a tamed or conditioned mind work on, and how they don't actually reciprocate or respond to the kind of an optimism and around the world, what is going on as a positive thing. So that is the one important aspect Martin Seligman was working on. While he was doing, the entire history starts with when he was actually working in a field and he was working in a farm, and he was along with this small daughter Nikki. Nike was actually doing and kind of and playing around and singing around, and this Martin Seligman was really shocked, and he's saying, why are you spending your time, wasting your time, why are doing all this? He was beaning, he was yelling at her, he was shouting, and that has really made me, Nikki, to talk about that. You have been spending so much of time in weeding. Weeding is something you remove the, unwanted plant, which actually suck the nutrients of the, plant, which is actually the crop, which is the main crop. And this weeding has been done for a quite long period. And when are you going to cultivate the main crop? So that is what she asked, and he got really shocked up. And then he said that, yeah, I should really invest on time and cultivating rather than reading. So most of the time we start doing on aspects which is unpleasant, which is actually not positive and very very draining kind of. Now these things are really making us to drain our energy, and as well as we ruminate with these kind of negative thoughts. So the optimism is one of the very important aspects which we can actually think of. We can replant, reinvent, or also relearn and actually culture it. By nurturing optimism, you all can see that how much it is going to stretch us, and important results. So there are a lot of researches has been done as far as the optimism is concerned. It is a very simple aspect that optimism is something which is a very important aspect for all of us to take it forward. No, most of us talk about this. The entire psychology itself is has turned after Martin Seligman's the reinvention of learned optimism, because so far the psychology was focusing much on the deficiency, that is the illness, that was focused much on the problems and issues centric. Whereas when the optimism was been, that is the learned helplessness turned into an learned optimism, that is one thing is being repaired, it can be re-repaired and it can be rearranged, it can be relearned, was found by Martin Seligman. So the positive psychology itself is aiming to create such a kind of a focus that is working on the strength. It's a strength-based approach. So the same strength-based approach is based on your qualities, your virtues, your character strength. All these are put together, and how you can actually do well certain things in your, from your side. So optimism is itself is not just not having any issues. It doesn't mean that you don't have an issue at all, or you don't actually see the issue. Amidst of all the problem, how we are able to think positively, how we are able to perceive positiveness, how we are able to work for positive mind, how we are able to create a mindset within positivity. That is a very important aspect. So learned optimism is the concept from the positive psychology. Focusing on further, Martin talks about cultivating positive perspective. Nothing else. Positive perspective. He talks about this with a lot of examples, a lot of researches he has done on that. And it is also kind of an, if you have the kind of an positive perspective, it really penetrates into the behavior, in your attitude, in your any kind of an aspects of your life, even with your emotions, all that you could do with the any challenging situation. If you recognize there is a there is a kind of a problem or an issue, if you are able to do this channelizing with the self talk and other aspects, you can definitely yearn this optimism. That was his entire research is all about. He was talking about much on the the phenomenon of if an individual believes that I am incapable, there is all the possibilities that he can believe that he is capable. Nothing else. So he says that if a person is able to stick on to certain aspects of belief system that I am like this, I cannot do this, I can hold only this, I cannot handle this. There is all the possibilities for the person to think that I can do this, I can handle this, I can work on this, I can learn on this. These are the aspects. So this is a very important aspect he has started working on. If a person talks about to himself that I am incapable, there is always a possibility to say that I am capable also. This was the main route for the Martin Seligman to work on the optimism. You would have heard a story about two frogs fallen into the pot, the curd pot, that is the pot, and it has been it is a bigger part. It couldn't escape it, so it was actually finding it very difficult. One us really felt that I cannot do it because it is so thick and I couldn't swim faster, and it is a bigger part. I cannot actually jump over it also. It is finding it very difficult that it couldn't do that, and it has really given the hope. Whereas the other one was being keep on chunky, keep quite long time because it's a pure, and the curd was very very thick, and there was amount of the amount of butter formed because of the when you churn the curd you get butter. The butter, that it actually float on the curd. It was floating. The frog was on step onto that, and it was able to wait for some while, and it keep on swimming for some time and rest on the butter, and keep on swim on some time and rest on the butter. After some time, there was a person who was about to take the lid, and it has jumped from that particular person's hand and went out. So smallest story we tell for kids. There is a possibility for both of them to think certain a problematic situation. Both of them are in the same situation, but one frog was able to find out the possibility, but the other frog was not able to because right. It had the negative perspective about himself. It had the negative perspective about the possibilities all around, isn't it? So if you really have the possibility in your mind, you will definitely look for the chances. Every opportunities you will grab it. Every opportunities you make it as an important aspect in my life. So when he was doing, Martin Seligman was doing a research, is along with a clinical background, clinical psychology background. A lot of his work was centered to pessimistic approach, looking at the client with the lens of problems, issues, looking at the clients with symptoms, looking at the clients with the symptoms matching and fixing them with one disorder. Seligman become very curious about why some individuals don't feel helpless, even when the conditions, conditioned to do so. Certain problems are there for everyone, but some of them are not able to feel such a kind of an. They don't have a clinical depression, though the circumstances are very, really bad and worst. You can see that a lot of people in the world, they are living very peaceful, happily, irrespective of their background, their poor circumstances, and all the illness you can actually name it out, isn't it? But they were not actually complaining out, and they don't actually ruminate, and actually they don't feel helpless. What is the problem is, or what is that is missing in there? So his interest has shifted to that. What is that they are looking? The same condition, what is that they are looking for? What is that they are working for? What is that one particular aspect is making them to look the entire scenario different? So that made him to look this optimistic instead of the pessimistic one. So the clinical patient itself has given him a lot of insight that how Some of them are not able to handle this. Some of them are able to handle it. What is it? Let it be any coping mechanism. Let it be any defense mechanism. Let it be any of that. But whether they are coping it in a very positive way. So amidst of all the same kind of an issues, they are able to face it. They are able to overcome it. But the other person is not able to. That was a curious aspect for him to work on this optimism research. He worked for several years on optimism. I should really say that he has really done a remarkable work based on his evidence-based research only. He has proposed this learned optimism as one of the critical approach. You know something? The individual benefits of optimism, when you compare to pessimism, I need not tell you. The research shows that it is really creating a very good impact on your health because you are able to see to make myself happy even in these circumstances. The COVID, I should really thank Suresh to bring out mental health webinar series. He has come out with an idea of how we can actually positively engage, spread awareness, help people think in people's perspective and give them the best what we can do. So that we have been worked and trained, and we have been into administration, we have been into resource pulling, we have been into presenting, we have been into various work because of that. What does it really mean? It really means that we are able to think beyond the constraints, beyond the difficulties beyond the issues which everyone is actually encountering, isn't it? So that kind of an transcending takes place when you are having an optimistic, behavior, optimistic mindset, optimistic perspective. And he also mentions about some of the researchers, the well-being. The well-being seems to be highly improving when the person, he is not just talking about the well-being of health alone, that is your physical health. It is all about the mental health. It is all about the holistic well-being he is talking about. The holistic development of the person takes care, holistic wellness of the person takes care because he holds the same kind of optimism into all the perspective, all the walks of his life. So that is a very essential aspect. And they have also connected with the research on success and optimism. They have seen that these people who are optimistic are able to climb up in their career and they are able to sustain their motivation level. They are able to see, the kind of a goal and goal oriented behavior, and beyond that, the not just achievement, it is also giving them a kind of an happiness and pleasure while they are in the process also. So these optimistic people learn to become, more and more invest on the optimism, positive kind of an, perspective, because they know how much it is helping them every now and then. They know how much it is actually promoting them, self as well as interpersonal, intrapersonal, as well as this, the other professional life also. So this really give them a kind of an orientation, how this could be really helpful for them. I would like to mention one of the TED Talk of Bhakti Sharma. You would have been known to this lady, and if you have attended any of the workshop, I would have even mentioned about Bhakti Sharma. She is given a TED Talk. You can actually visit Bhakti Sharma. She is an open water swimmer. This girl is from Rajasthan. You must really watch this video of Bhakti Sharma. I really got goosebumps when she was talking about her experience in life. She's from Rajasthan, a poor, she's from a village, and I don't know about her economic status and all because she never mentioned about that. She talks about how she was coming from the Rajasthan, where there is no kind of such a facility. She has traveled, and her mother asked her, "What do you think of swimming?" She took swimming as one of her, hobby, and then she really felt it is really nice, and she's continued, and she has done it in state level and district level, and then also district, state, and also national level. She was good. She did, won the medals. What did she do? all the time she used to practice in a swimming pool. And you can see that the swimming pools are very secure. It has a definite depth. It has a definite boundary. She has practiced over there. But her mother was asked, why don't you think of, open water swimming? The open water swimming, you all know it is in the ocean. So this girl, a poor girl, is a small girl actually. She is not aware of it. What is the open water swimming looks like? She really wanted to do that. Why can't I try? She never had a mindset that I cannot do in my, in her head. She said that, why can't I try? Why can't I? She went over there. She stayed in Mumbai. She practiced in Mumbai beach and Mumbai ocean and Arabian Sea. After some time, she has run a record crossing the English Channel at a younger stage. English Channel is the longest distance. You all know that, isn't it? She did that. While she was doing, she never knew there is no distinct of the depth, and as well as she may not be aware of the kind of an boundaries. She may not be aware of what kind of an enemies she is going to encounter. All that she is not aware of. But she never holded a pessimistic attitude in her. She just said herself, she is telling in her video, you must really listen. It's a fog, and every time when you are, swimming and when you are in an action, you just don't even know the target because it is farther, and also you cannot see that for a quite long, vision also. What you will be thinking of the next immediate step is very important. Every now and then you will be energizing yourself for the next step, nothing else. She did this English Channel, but she did stop. She has been to Antarctic Ocean. She did in the minus degree also. She has won the youngest girl to, swim in the longest, distance in the Antarctic Ocean. Just imagine a girl from Rajasthan. The climate in Rajasthan, you all know, hottest, and it's also cold, very chill in the night, but it is not like as chill as Antarctic. And she never knew what is the ocean looks like in, of course she has crossed English Channel, now she knows, but she never had an idea of what would be the Antarctic Ocean, the climate and other things. She actually didn't research. What she did do, she actually, used all the so much of tons of ice cubes and filled into the swimming pool and made it chill minus degrees, and she used to swim in that. First 2-3 weeks she was shivering because of that, the chillness. She couldn't tolerate that. After that she has hired a swimming pool. She again poured in tons of ice cubes and she conditioned her body. Slowly she became practiced to that, and then she was doing that in the Antarctic Ocean. The movie is also given. There is a beautiful dolphin around her and it is swimming along with her. It is so fantastic that our own Indian women is able to conquer the biggest kind of, and she says that what is the biggest fear? You all know that. You all say to yourself, no, I cannot do that. I am only made up of this. I cannot go beyond. I am having only this. I can this. All these invisible chains we all are having around us. It is the biggest enemy rather than whoever is outside. And she clearly gives that yourself is a very important aspect too. If you are going to face any kind of a challenge, if you are going to higher up in your ambition, if you really wanted to achieve the best in your life, you need to be a focused person with a lot of enthusiasm, keeping marching forward, keeping that in mind, marching forward as an optimistic person. So this particular example has given me a kind of an amazing outlook for the entire life. If you really work in settings like mental health hospital, if you I've been working as a testing officer in Juvenile Guidance Bureau, I came to know that how much life has been so blissful and so blissful for all of us when we are comparing the kids who are coming over there and every day and night. They don't have any conditions to, really live They don't have an conducive atmosphere. They don't have a father who is actually a role model. They don't have a mother who is actually an a loving and affectionate and caring mother. There are a lot of people, okay, been abused and also been used, exploited. But if you really see, we all are very safe, living very, very, safe and healthy, and also being in a very blessed family. So this particular aspect has really given me an outlook of how this pessimistic attitude we need to really look into and retune ourselves into the, something is which is optimistic. Something, while he was doing a research, he understood that people who are having a pessimistic, attitude, they seems to anticipate what is good or bad, what is good is going to happen to me, what is bad is going to happen. Whereas the optimistic never look like that. Optimistic, they consider what is going to occur, what is the different way I am going to solve, how I am going to work on, what is the kind of a learning I am going to gain on this. So it is not that fixing up with an whole of good or bad. It is more of an learning experience for them. Purely, it is something called growth-oriented mindset people must have. If you really think of this optimism, it is one of the very important thing is the predispositional standpoint. That means before you venture into any task, never think of ruminate that something will happen bad. Of course, you are not a fortune teller, of course, but you can prepare your mind. I have a very beautiful story of one of the old man who is actually a very bold person, doesn't have anybody, nobody is going to support him. It was there in the WhatsApp only. I got it. So this old man is going to going for a residential home where he is going to stay in the home, old age home. And there were people are sending out mail about all the details, and he is, of course, he is able to manage his finance, and he has actually given the booking and everything is done. While the caretaker has come and he is about to take him and all that is, he was very cheerful. The old man was smiling, and he was very happy, and he is saying that I'm going to stay over there, and please bring my things, and I will also carry things and all. No, this caretaker was really surprised. He said, don't you feel very sad because you're going to stay over here? It is an old age home. Nobody is going to be there of your family members, and don't you feel that you will be alone, or don't you feel that the atmosphere and the kind of an environment is not going to be like a family like, and it's not going to be like an where you lived already in your home? Don't you feel that all that you are very cheerful, very happy you're coming? You say that it is not. It's my happiness is my choice, and I just feel that I am going to live very happy over there, whatever it is, whatever may be the condition. I'm going to live very happy over there. So this really gives an idea of how this optimistic looks even into that kind of conditions. So they really have a predispositional standpoint. A standpoint that is the individual, reflect on what is that is going to happen. Also, they don't expect such a kind of thing about the future. They fix that it is going to be very good. Whatever is going to happen, it is going to be good. It is going to be happier. It doesn't mean that they are running away from the reality. They are escaping from the reality. It says that I'm preparing my mind to face that. So something wonderful, actually, you need to really think about this. This particular Martin Seligman's work on positive optimism really kindled my interest on this working on positive psychology, because some of the personalities you possess will be more into an explanatory style of life. That is, the explanatory style means the basic the positive phrases, the images of what you really look for in your life, that you really carry such a kind of an images for yourself. So life itself is, he says that life itself is not giving you a kind of a warranty that nothing will be a setback, nothing is a challenge, there is no problem at all for you. Definitely there will be all this, but the optimistic is able to weather it better than the pessimistic. So this is a one important aspect which really improves the health, enhancing the well-being, motivational, and it is really giving a motivation to work further, motivation to do further, motivation to it is like an ikigai of the Japanese term. The ikigai talks about the entire book. If you read the ikigai, it says that What is the some energy you jump out of the bed in the morning every day? You have a purpose, you have a meaning when you jump out of the bed every day morning, isn't it? When you wake up from the bed, you always have something I'm going to do today, I'm going to happy, I'm going to plan this day and all this. No, that is the purpose of that particular thing. That the ikigai, that is the motivation and the performance is also being involved. It is not just the activities per se, it is also about the better social relationship. You really enjoy the relationship to each other and career success, of course. Definitely, if you hold an optimistic look, you will definitely look for opportunities, you will look for the positive possibilities rather than the repairing much of the time. And also a very important aspect, there are three things he mentions. One is about the pleasant life, engaged life, and meaningful life. Pleasant life, these three kinds of happiness is the product of learned optimism. Is that anyone in the world will say that I don't want this? No one will say. Everybody would like to have enjoy this, pleasant, meaningful, and as well as the kind of a life which really going to be very happy for them. So this particular aspect of Martin Seligman, really, you just tell yourself that I would like to have a pleasant life. You definitely would like to amplify the positive emotions, and you really wanted to acquire such kind of skills to have such kind of a pleasantness in your life, isn't it? If you say that engaged life, if you don't really want it to be a young, dull or a dumb kind of life, no, you really want to be engaged in life where you discover your highest strength, where you feel that I'm potential of doing this, where you know that I can reshape myself, I can take charge of myself, I can work on this, I can work on these virtues, this I can work on my relationship, my leisure, and all that, even my career. So engaged, positively engaged life. And a beautiful, meaningful life, which we all striving for, isn't it? A meaning in life, the ikigai I mentioned. So the utilizing them, belonging to what is that, really gives you a kind of what is that larger than yourself. Other than this, what is that I'm giving? What is not just myself? I'm going to work for a kind of a, the noble cause. That is what is the meaning. So the very important aspect of this optimism really gives us, hooks us for an everyday life, very pleasant, happy, and as well as an engaging life. If you really wanted to ask me any questions, I would like to really reflect upon, because I have been talking much from my side. I would like to listen from your side also. So far, you would have been experienced in your life that there are circumstances which is very similar to you and your own friends also, but you would have handled very well. You would have handled in a better way. You would have handled in a very positive notion. With the same kind of conditions, people have not handled the would have seen that in your life. Would you please express about and would you please interact with me like that? I said that come with milk. Don't come with water. Please come with milk.
Dear everyone, we have been seeing your enthusiasms and contributions in the WhatsApp group. We would be more happy and it would be more encouraging for all of us if we can hear from you really now. Please give it a go. Try once.
Chandra, you start, no?
You wanted me to learn about how optimistic I have been thinking or what, ma'am?
Yeah, any situation where you found it very difficult, but if you have been in a very
Hello, ma'am.
optimistic and yes, please.
Can I share something?
Yeah, please. I am awaiting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I really impressed. You spoke very well, and examples were so impressive, and story is really very good, interesting, relevant to the topic actually. I just wanted to share my experience about optimism. I was so pessimist in the college time, and
Okay.
I met with my friend. She told me that why are you worried every time, worried about this, worried about that. She told me one sentence that what will happen? Just think about the extreme. What will happen? You will die.
This is the extreme of everything. So, and everyone is going to die one day. So there's nothing to worry about it. That time to till date, I became so optimist, and really that sentence changed my life.
Hmm.
And
Okay,
I'm
what the
really,
worst can happen? What the worst can happen? Very good.
what will happen? Extreme.
Hmm.
Think about the extreme. What will happen?
Yes, yes, the worst.
Hmm.
Like, yeah.
The worst thing what will happen, na? So this was my experience about optimism, and it really changed my life. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thanks for sharing. May I know your name, your Kavita, isn't it?
Yeah, Dr. Kavita Batra from Haryana, Fatehabad.
Very fantastic, fantastic. Kavita Batra. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I would like to listen from any one of you that so some incident which would have given you kind of an, or some of you are feeling that I hold optimism. I mean I am a very optimistic person, and how do you know that? You can also share that.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
As in optimism and all, we are kind of school children or maybe adolescents. We can understand what is optimism and we can teach them confidence levels and all. So how can we teach them this, elementary students who are below 5th class and all, to make them, learned optimists? So for them, it is like learned helplessness and all, concepts, whatever in their sense, it will be there. But
Hmm.
how it is easy for us to apply optimism? I mean, make them learn optimism.
How we can inculcate, or how we can
Inculcate.
actually nurture, you mean to say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nurture.
Okay, so the first and foremost important point from this is very relevant question, Raj. What is very important over here is the parenting plays a major role there. You would have
Yes.
seen the parents, no? As soon as the child brings a mark sheet or a report card, what would the parent see is that? Can you just tell me? Immediately, what would they say?
Very good, excellent.
That is you are looking at that. There will be people who are really
So then
working.
somebody will scold.
Yeah, they will immediately scold for the lesser marks. They will look for the red marks. They will look for the underlyings. They will look for the comments by the teacher. Instead of, there are so many papers they would have gained more than 80, more than 90, will never they will look into. If one paper the child has, has scored 45 less or 50 less, no, they will immediately look into that. So what is that the child learns from the father, mother, and the people around, the caretakers, the primary caretakers. If they are always looking for things which is not happening properly, things are not actually which is going wrong. If they have been finding fault all the time, then the child will look into faults around. It's nothing but a story we used to tell, no? If you keep one particular paper, a white paper with a small black dot, what is that you perceive in that entire paper? If I ask, somebody will say that is black dot in a white paper, and some will say that a huge space where it is white and a small dot in that. Somebody will even ignore the black dot and talk about on paper, isn't it? So there is a hell a lot of difference in the perspective of people who are actually. So if you start thinking of the other person, you are damaging the self-esteem of the child right from the beginning of their, their childhood, stating about you have to be like this, you are not doing this right, you are keeping this like all the time you are doing wrong thing. So complaining them and making them know. Instead of that, there is something called an SFBT approach. Have you heard about this solution focused brief
Yeah, yeah.
approach? So there is an kind of an questioning in that. Are you aware of how SFBT questions have been formulated?
Yeah, ma'am, a little bit because we attended a seminar in Kerala last year.
Okay. For example, I'm
And
asking, how did you? So, for example, can you just think of an issue right now? Any issue right now?
academics,
Academics. Your
post,
academics?
post, yeah,
Yeah.
postponing certain things.
Okay. How did this issue developed actually?
time since, because so it went on, wasting time. So it went on postponing because we have so much time. So I'll
Okay.
think.
What are the present consequences of this issue?
Delay in work.
Okay, you are delaying the work. Tell me in detail about the time where you really bothered about this issue.
So when you look back, so it thought like it is not that 100% productive. Yeah, I'm productive, but I'm still thinking I could have done more.
Okay, so you have been ruminating about that. Okay,
Hmm.
what would happen if these issues are getting worse and worse than this?
Nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. Okay, what might be the root cause for this issue?
Hmm.
Who else are involved in this?
Myself, I should not blame anybody. That myself
Okay,
only.
you don't blame. Okay, what is the root cause of it?
So simple procrastination, negligence.
Okay, if you keep this an issue in mind, how do you see yourself in future of these issues, with these issues?
If I keep ruminating about it, I still wasting. I will waste time.
Thank you so much for sharing your ideas on that. I'm sorry, I'm using it as an example only. Is it fine
No
with you?
issues. No issues.
Yes? I'm
No
going to
issues,
ask you
ma'am.
another set of questions right now. Are you
Yes,
ready?
ma'am.
You said that you have been having an issue of procrastination. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Imagine, Raj. Somehow these issues are solved. What will you notice differently?
Productivity, work productivity, the issues are solved, and my work productivity will increase.
Fantastic. How do you manage yourself with these, presently? So far, with these issues, you are presently managing it, no? How could you do that?
So I'll do in a better way. So if something is going on better, and if say I can't change anything in the past, if I'm thinking that the future is going to be good, but the present is also going to be good, I mean, I'll be working on it.
Fantastic. Okay, tell me in detail when you have really felt this issue has not bothered you much.
Sometimes it is bothering, sometimes it is not. See, when I'm thinking that,
When
see,
it
it
has
is
not
okay.
bothered you.
So it is okay that I can move on still. So in that time it is not bothering. And sometimes if I'm focusing on it, it will be bothering.
Okay, how different it will be if these issues are solved for in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be gaining more knowledge. I'll be saving more time.
Very good. How could be the next small step you can take to indicate that you are actually approaching for your gain more knowledge?
Yeah, I have to start with. I have to kickstart with whatever I want to achieve.
Thank you, Rash.
Or
Thank you so much. We had two set of questions, isn't it? Which one
yeah,
you really felt very happy and also very promising, which gave you a kind of an support?
when it is based on outcome oriented in the future, that you are going to be in that part. So
So, if you really rear the child with such a kind of an focus, they will be very optimistic. Look for opportunities, look for possibilities, look for positive things. Despite of all this, I'm able to do that. Such a kind of an attitude they will gain. Whereas if you really ruminate on the issues which they have done already, pointing out what is that and going in detail about that and talking much on those issues, it is really going to create a kind of a hell a lot of issues. Of course, Vidya, Divya, that is a wonderful thing, miracle question. Somehow it went off. What will happen, no? If I asked. But Dr. Kavita was telling about what will happen if it goes worse. Instead of that, somehow it solves how it looks like to you. So that is a very important outlook we need to really think of. Very good, excellent. Anybody else would like to talk about miracle question she has mentioned? Anybody else?
yeah, ma'am, this therapy is actually nobody knows much of them. And this, I don't know, but much of them don't know because SFBT is working with so many clients in this thing.
Very good. Okay. So I'm not talking about SFBT with reference, but in general, the human being are much focusing on the problems, much focusing on the issues, problems which is actually a centric one, and also looking for, there is something called Martin Seligman himself has written a lot of article on the half-filled glass. Have you heard about that? So if you have an half-filled glass and you are showing, people will say that half empty instead of that half filled. And some will say that half empty, half filled. They are neutralist. So you can see that the people who are optimistic will look into the kind of things which is nice, pleasant, good, which is also fulfilling rather than what is not there. You got the point. If you really nurture the children right from the beginning with all these attitude, if you really cultivate such a kind of an atmosphere at home, definitely you can bring in the child with an optimism. Have I answered you, Raj?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, fantastic. Okay, so I would like to move on. Is that anyone else have some kind of an interaction like this? Hello?
Ma'am, this is Chandra here.
Yes, Chandra.
Ma'am, I'm going to say something. If I'm wrong, kindly correct me.
It's fine.
What I think about optimism is like it's full of confidence and positivity in approaching something, ma'am. In my personal experience, how I have been an optimistic person is I have never thought in the first place that something is not going to happen, what has to really happen. For example, if something has to happen to me and there are some barriers in front, I never thought there is a barrier in front. I always think there must be another way to solve it. This is the way I have approached all my situations, ma'am. So, for example, recently we would say we have applied for our visas in the UK now, and we didn't expect that they will ask all our old passports because usually they don't ask for it, but this time it's a new procedure that they're asking for all our old passports. And myself, my husband, and my son has it here, but my daughter's passport is in India actually. And you must all know that having a passport from India to the UK by courier is not really legal. So even then, I never thought that I cannot get it here because I always believed that there would be a person who can help me to bring the passport, traveling for a holiday from there to here or from here to there. I believe that it's going to happen and it's all about time that I have to wait. So what actually happened is one of my friends' relative is coming over to the UK in the next week. And so we are getting the passport from India to the UK in the next week. So all is sorted out. So what I personally think about optimism is believe in what's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's all about the vibes that you send and that you receive. You might ask, if it is going to be a coincidence, what would you do? I will obviously say I will try with more friends, asking for more families coming over to the UK. And always we had 2 more persons coming in the pipeline in the next month. What actually happen is we cannot fix our interviews as soon as possible, but I have to wait for the passport to come here. But we had 3 possibilities to get the passport to the UK. So thankfully, and what I can say, blessed in a way, we are getting it in the next week. So this is what is my approach towards things by being optimistic.
Yes,
and
that's a very important aspect. Yeah, that's a very important aspect is optimistic doesn't actually close the the kind of a problem at all. They look for the opportunities and possibilities to solve the issues. They're more into a solution centric rather than the problem centric. This is the only perspective I told you. That is a fantastic thing you said that. If you start believing, you will get it. Am I audible?
Ma'am, yeah, you're audible, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. In addition to what Kavita Batra she shared, she said like what's going to happen in the worst case. That is the ultimate thing we keep in mind, ma'am. What we want is the passport here. So instead of worrying about whether we will have it or not, I think the best way is to see how can we get it here. Because by courier is no chance. You can't send passports internationally. I know that is ruled out. But only thing is, since it's a holiday time here, I always hope that there must be someone. So it is what? I believe that for every solution, for every problem, there is a solution, ma'am. So I think we have to wait for the right moment that will happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. See, the optimistic use that waiting as an opportunity. That is a very important learning. That's a major aspect you have said. That's fantastic. What you said is rightly. You pointed out. No, this is the chances for that. See, two marketers, the sellers, have been asked to sell and shoes for their village. It's a new village they have identified for promoting their shoes, and this the entire marketing people are looking at this particular village, and they were asked to go and visit and do a market survey and find out that how many pairs we may sell, kind of a survey the bosses asked. One fellow went, that is a fellow went and said that it is not at all possible. There is no possibilities at all because none of them have the habit of wearing chappal even. They don't even wear a footwear. How can they sell a shoes? I don't think so. We have an opportunity to have a market over there, he says. But whereas the B person goes there and say and come with a lot of enthusiasm and look at that entire scenario, and he says that I can order more than which you are manufacturing right now because I have lot of opportunity to sell all the shoes over there. I can sell at least 2 pairs for each one of them because they don't have the habit of wearing footwear. I can actually promote all the shoes to them. Look at the same scenario. People are looking at in a very different way. We say this for a motivation talk. We refer this for marketers for selling strategies. But really looking at that, the one person, the B, was able to look for the opportunities, look for look for the kind of what could be the possibilities for me to be promotion. Or how can I promote? That is what there in the mind. Rather than the other person, how I am going to convince. So he is depending on external. How can I convince a person? He is depending on external, whereas this person is depending on the internal resources. So this is something which actually Martin Seligman talks about also. There are three important aspects in psychology is based, for the people who are actually optimistic. He mentions about even the neurological basis also he has done that. One is about the attention and the information processing. Number 2 is all about the cognitive, that is the very important aspect is the locus of control. The third one is about the attribution style. So one, the neurological aspect, that is the, I mean to say the attention. The selective attention itself, you all know that what is that you select to attend. Most of the time, if you see some people look in, the kitchen will be spick and pan. If somewhere some dirt is there, people will look into the dirt alone. The entire kitchen will look nice. They won't look. So these are the aspects you have to really, what is that you are selecting to attend. So the attention and the information processing is one of the very important aspects. They have find out this is a selective attention is one of the things where you are able to see the off full glass or off empty glass. If you're able to choose to see the entire cup of glass which has an half a cup full or half a cup empty, that shows that what kind of an attention you are focusing on, isn't it? So and then what is that you are processing inside. So the glasses which is they are given as an example. If you may be really thirsty, you are looking for water, you are looking for water around and in the environment, wherever the water is a clue for you to get. The environmental clue is something you are getting it. Rather, you are thinking of not filled up of a cup, you are thinking of half cup is filled is very important. So the eye tracking and then you are collecting it. So this is something he is saying that whether it is a pleasant cue for you or an unpleasant cue for you. For an optimistic, they won't spend much time on the unpleasant cues because they focus on the pleasant cues. The cue is nothing but you are looking for the water when you are thirsty. In the environment, you are looking for something, you are looking for knowledge, you will look for beautiful websites to read, you will look for books to read, you will attend seminars which you can gain for knowledge. If when a person who is looking for anything at that particular moment, the selective attention is focusing on what is needed for them, they will look for the pleasant cues rather than the unpleasant cues that will be present in the environment. I don't deny the fact that there is nothing called negative over there. There are so many negatives are there, but they trace only the positive things. They trace only, look into the only the cues which is pleasant to them. Am I clear? If that is, we're able to find out the importance of having a selective attention with respect to how these optimistic people are able to perceive things, no? That's the first and foremost thing, no? The psychologists mentioned. And then the about the locus of control. You all know that is what is locus of control. Locus of control is something the Rotter has identified the personality type that is the also about the cognitive mechanism, the potential cognitive mechanism that refers the confidence or anything, the change and anything is controlled by you rather than the external. The internal resources person, internal locus of control person will think the control or the option or anything is controlled by me. The person will think that the possibilities are from me. If I do my best, I can do my exams well. The pessimistic person will look into, oh, you, if the exam question paper comes very, very tough, what will I do? The optimistic person will think that I will prepare very well every unit, the possible answers I will work on, I will prepare very well my mind to answer any kind of question. That is an optimistic view. It doesn't mean that the tough or problematic question paper doesn't, it's not going to arrive. There are possibilities, but what is that this person is having? The internal locus of control. That is, it is associated with the optimism. That is the belief and the active role of controlling things in anything in my life is under my control. Whether you call it an exam results or work performance or your environment, your family, your relationship, your anything you name it, it is under your control. At the same thing, opposite to that, in contrast to this, the external locus of control that tend to feel that the helpless behavior kind of, I don't know, I was not lucky enough to get that job. You know something, other person had an uncle or aunt to recommend, so that's the reason she got it. And I don't have a supporter, so I couldn't do that. I didn't have money, and that person has a money. We do lot of comparisons, and we position ourselves very low, and we see that the external is controlling us. So the relationship, the lives, and anything you name it, these are controlled by the external factors rather than the internal. So this is something the pessimistic fault. So that he has done the research also. What is the personality style of the optimistic? What is the personality style of the pessimistic? How these people actually relate or react to each and every situations. He has found out. The third one is about the attribution style. The attribution style is something very, very important. You all know that the failures as internal and fixed personal factors, all that they put it, they attribute to that. It is something which they failed. It becomes, I am not lovable. They connect it to their life itself. They make it very pessimistic outlook of themselves. If something goes wrong with their achievement or something, they personalize it. They themselves is wrong. Okay, the attribution, if it is external, they don't localize it. Okay, they actually think of and very specific, in this situation I am not like this. I didn't do it perfectly this time, so I got it. This time I was not actually very careful, so I got the flu. If this time I was actually little slower, I was not fast enough, so I couldn't win the swimming race. So this, they will be very specific on those aspects, and they will actually attribute to that particular act, not personalize. I'm a failure. I did this. I'm wrong. I'm always like this. I'm not capable, helpless. All this they don't actually attribute. So people who are having an explanatory kind of style, they will come to know about the attribution which is a positive outcome. For example, I accepting myself. I'm a great student. I work very hard. I really do very well. Sometimes in my life also, I have failed because of that incident has happened. Because there is a death in my family. Because I couldn't prepare very well. Because my health was not conducive on that time. Isn't it? Downfalls will be there for everyone, but they don't personalize it with their self. They don't actually attribute to their entire life, entire personality. That is a very important aspect of optimal, optimistic person. So the very important aspect is it is not that they don't face failure at all. They face failure, but they take it forward and they make sure that it is not hindering their process. So the optimistic persons have an explanatory lifestyle events. For example, positive event is taking, they think it is a permanent one and very pervasive, and also very take it personal and internal. Whereas if there is a negative event takes place, they feel it is temporary, it is local, it can be repaired, and it is general, it is external, it is not under my control. Whereas if the pessimistic people entirely contrast to that, the same thing they look it in a different way. If pessimistic people look into something in a positive life event is taking place, they will feel it is it is very local, it is very temporary, it is not going to last forever. They don't actually they take it general and external. It is because of them I am happy, because of that is happy, because of this. They will be looking for opportunity from outside only for all that. Whereas the negative events it takes place, they will feel it permanent. It is lifelong. I am going to be like this. That's all. I'm finished like that. And they feel pervasive and they take it very personal. This is what is very important in exploring the explanatory styles of the person. If one could able to relearn, unlearn the aspect of how I have been negative while things were having, like there are positive events are taking, but I'm not accepting. Negative things are happening, I'm accepting it all the more. And there are positive things are happening that I don't recognize it as and make it as a very temporary one. Whereas the negative events, I'm taking it very permanent. If they were able to replace these aspects, then definitely there will be lot of changes in their outlook. So this is what is all about the learned optimism. And before I conclude, you can see that these are the beautiful examples I can give you so that you can really all real life examples. I'm not going to give you something for a story kind of all real life examples. As I gave Bhakti Sharma, there is one person called Swarnalatha. She is in Swarnalatha is from Coimbatore based in Tamil Nadu. She is a person who has a muscular related paralysis. She cannot move her the muscles. She has the all the muscles till their head and only the arms she can move. Entire body she cannot move. And you know something? She is a beautiful girl, looking and married, and she is doing a wonderful job. And she is actually owning an NGO, promoting and such a kind of an awareness for people who are having such kind of an issues. She is also donating wheelchairs to them. She has taken up the entire Coimbatore bus stand and railway stations as a contract for rebuilding with the disabled friendly rails and other aspects. She has built it actually with her own personal generation of money. And also she is having a wonderful ambulance facility which is first and foremost kind of introduced for such kind of people who are in wheelchair. And she has been into modeling. I was really amazed to see such a kind of a people. So this is something, she can say that, we all with all the possibilities with good health, we say that today I'm feeling very, don't feel like getting up from the bed. I'm really moody today. I have headache and I have this pain, that pain. We complain. Do you think that she won't have, she have all the pain, all spite of all this, I'm able to function because I have an higher thinking, higher purpose in my life. So much meaningful in our life. So this is what is very important for all of us, isn't it? And think about this guy Nadarajan, who's hailing from an Challappan Patti or something from an Salem back nearby Salem. He never played with a cricket ball. He has been playing with tennis ball. He never knew that what is a kind of a classic cricket actually looks like. He was playing with people and people around his village. And he's from a remote village. His mother is in street vendor. And think of this boy right now here. He was being rejected. He was being told that you are doing no chucks. In the Punjab IPL, he has been told as a warning to train himself. In the Hyderabad IPL, Hyderabad has taken him, trained him, groomed him. Now he's rocking. He's into history now. Think of can say that I am hailing from a very kind of a village. I cannot join. I cannot come out. I cannot do that. I cannot. If he keeps telling, that is going to be a small poor guy who's playing in the village or the village, just doing what he knows. But he has come out. He is supporting his entire family, his two sisters and one brother. Farm is also never supported by the parents. She is actually an medal winner and she is rocking in the kickboxing. You think of anyone, even Westerners. There is a lot of people I can say that. England, the football player. I think his name is. He is yesterday also he came in BBC. It was mentioned he has done his Manchester. He has started the Manchester United. He has joined 11 years. This guy Marker Rich. He has joined 11 years, and then at the age of 21 years, he is feeding 400 families only with this game. His mother is actually an very poor background single mother. She's been thriving for food and feeding him. She was really concerned about this guy shouldn't be wasted his potentials, and he's been in streets and she don't have money to support him also. So she has put him into an and kind of an football team, and he has really flared up well. Think of so many people around, they all had an optimism. Do you think they don't have a kind of an life to say that I am bored, I am helpless, I am really not worthy, I am not having a background, I don't have parents. There are so many things they can say, but they never complain such. They come out with beautiful ideas and they have come. Just think about these pandemic period, you know that the pandemic period, the first pandemic period was being declared when this plague was announced. Newton actually found out the prism when he was being inside the farmhouse. He found the law of gravity while he was in the farmhouse only. When he saw the apple is falling down, he was being inside the room. There was a small hole inside in the door, and which is penetrating to find out the prism which has 7 colors using that filters, and with the prism he has found out. And such a during this you just think of when people who have come out with innovations during this pandemic also to safeguard ourselves just from an the people who are, we call it as a design thinking innovation. These people are very optimistic. Do they say they have not had this as kind of a mental block, or because of this entire pandemic everybody is affected? They never think about that. They're also working on something very unique. They really design something. We all use this the kitchen waste basket where you kick by your foot and the lid opens. That's the same technique they have used for sanitizer dispenser. One person came out with the design. Somebody was able to do that, isn't it? So such a kind of possibilities were there, even amidst of all the issues, amidst of all the difficulties, amidst all the problems which you all have been saying the other people are also facing, but they face it as there's an opportunity for me to look forward. There is an opportunity I can actually climb. I have an abundance of potentials to look forward. I have a kind of a positive outlook in my life. That is what is all about the learned optimism. It could be learned, it can be learned, it will be learned if you really plan for it. Thank you. With this note, I would like to conclude. the participants who have been participating, and some of you really interacted with me also. Thank you so much, Chandra, for the wonderful coordination. And I know that I have taken a little longer duration, but I'm thought that this opening is very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supa ma'am. In the chat, we have got a couple of questions from Priya ma'am. It would be great if you have a couple of minutes to answer those questions, ma'am.
Definitely, please. Could you please read it out for me?
Yes. First is how to break the pessimistic attitude, and second is how to break the cycle of learned helplessness.
Okay. The questions, so many answers and so many life examples I have given. Actually, that is an answer for all of you. If you really think of these things, cannot. No, self-talk is one of the very important aspects, and also the locus of control, which you need to really think of. Internal responsibility is very important, and the attribution style. These are the technical things, but really think of an attitude of all these life stories have given you so far. Just think, they have all the possibility to say that I cannot do, I am helpless, I am having this, and I have. They started believing themselves. If they would have started believing that they cannot, they are helpless, they would have never come out in their life at all, isn't it? But they had the breaking ideas to keep that positive things upright. One thing is, the pessimistic people are able to look for details of problems. No, you have to really look for things which is actually accomplished, things which is you have done it very well. You should really think of things which is looking very nice to you, things which is very happy for you. These kind of a detailing you have to really look forward. So while you are seeing people also, you don't look for what with the right mistake they will do to point out what is the mistake you have done. Even some people will correct the spelling, some people will correct the pronunciation, some people will say this is the wrong word you have used, you should use this word, all that. No, instead of that, how it can be suggested, how it can be given as a feedback, how you can actually enrich the communication. You can actually appreciate the person for coming forward rather than complaining about. Right from the relationship, everything, if you started looking for the positive side of everything, then you will be able to see that the negative side is coming down. It is nothing but that the technique of drawing a small line and saying that how you can make this line smaller without changing or without erasing, as Tenali Raman was asked. But Tenali Raman was very wisdom, person with wisdom. He drawn a very bigger line and said that this is smaller than this, isn't it? So such a kind of, and if you start looking for positivity and investing on positivity, investing on stress, your strength, and all that will help you to look these things very small. That is one of the very important aspects. For example, I'm going to give an example from your. So if you have one cup of water, if you add one teaspoon of coffee decoction into that, how it will taste like? I would like to ask this question to a person who's actually has asked, how can I come out of this learned helplessness? Can that person answer this, Priya? Priya.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, I didn't get your question.
So if I give you a cup of water, within 1 spoon of coffee decoction is poured into that, how it tastes like and how it looks like to you?
It'll probably taste a bit bitter and the color
Yeah.
of the water will change.
Okay. So if this particular 1 cup, if I'm adding 1 liter of water, what will be that?
To little bit of decoction and 1 liter of water, is it?
Yeah, the same amount of decoction, but water is 1 liter.
So there might not be much of a difference because it'll dilute itself.
Okay, so I'm adding 10 liters of water into that, and the same kind of an amount of decoction. How it looks like?
So it might look normal. People wouldn't notice it at all.
Okay, so the very important aspect is somehow we have learnt in our life this helplessness, which we need to really work on. Break, instead of thinking of breaking this, use the same kind of a principle as Martin Seligman has approached us. use lot of positive aspects, positive outlook towards life, positive approaches towards life, and positive aspects to appreciate, and also having a lot of gratitude, and also being very very genuinely related with the people around. One model we call it is something called PERMA model. PERMA stands for P for positive emotion, E for engagement, positive engagement, R for positive relations, that is relationship, and then M for kind of an you are able to engage or manage your time and as well as everything. And A is for achievements. All this, no, sorry, meaningful is M. So all these, if you put together the PERMA, that is then you are adding water to one spoon of coffee decoction. This coffee decoction is something which you have learned helplessness. You need to break it with adding much of the positivity, positivity, positivity. Then you can see that you can break that. By your own experiences, you would have really felt that somewhere in the cycle of learned helplessness or being there inside the mind that has become a belief. So if you really wanted to have a kind of an CBT, ABC of what is called positive psychology, we can do even with the CBT. We can definitely work on that. Yes, Priya. I think I have answered you. Is that any other clarification you required?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite clear what you said. I was just thinking in terms of a client who I'm seeing at the moment where the learned helplessness is more. So I just wanted to know about how you could work on with it. That was the reason I asked that question. How to encourage more of optimism rather than negativism.
Fantastic. Are you familiar with SFBT?
No.
Okay, I think SFBT will help you much better, and positive psychology, application of positive psychology in counseling will help you much better. So what are the possibilities? Even helplessness, if she has so much of helplessness, but she would have gone through certain achievements in her life. She is living so far. She has so many other responsibilities and roles and other things. So you have to really explore what are the things she has done, what is personally she is actually thinking about herself. What if she is incapable of doing things? How many things she has done in her own? All that, if you really bring it to the surface level, the self-awareness of SWOT analysis will definitely help her to bring in the strength-based approach rather than working on the negativity.
Yeah, I will. I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so wonderful thoughts into what is optimism and optimism. As usual, it was really a rocking session, very useful and informative session it was. Thank you so much. And now I request Dr. Suresh Kumar sir to say a few words about the session and conclude today's session.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Chandra. Very good evening, one and all, and really happy to see most of you here. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Even I was with you. The learned helplessness is the seed for optimism. I think Dr. Subhasri explained very well. Thank you so much, ma'am, from my bottom of heart. And when you look at that objectives and goals of this workshop, I had many questions in my mind. So I want to ask these questions, and I want to search answer for these. Whether there is any specific text or any models are available for that. I found there are very limited models are there. For example, FERMA is there, but FERMA is self-learning. It's not a self-learning model. That is the one thing. And another one, I found that a group of association also try to cultivate that optimism based on the happiness index. There is one more group is working on. And I try to connect this. I want to just make a bridge between theory and practice. So there is an attempt made by us, theory and practice. And when you look at that, after the session, you can find worksheets. These worksheets are will help you to understand that what is optimism and why we need to develop and what are the strategies we are following. We believe that there is an optimistic strategy, whether it is an realistic or research-oriented, outcome-oriented practice, or we are practicing something which is not giving any result to us, but we believe that gives a result. And what are the strategy we can adapt to become optimistic, and how that will benefit us. I will quote one proverb here. What I think that I will become. So I think you can take it anthropology, philosophy, bio-neuropsychologist. Everybody will accept that. What you think that you will become. When we have that positive thought, we will have the positive thing in our life. And with that note, I can stop here. I hope you all enjoyed. We will have many sessions, and tomorrow Dr. Chandra will introduce about that. What is the important character and qualities of optimism people. And we have to understand that if we are not having these skills, and then we are not having the quality and character, we try to find out what are the components are there, how we can develop. And these things we will discuss in our workshop. Thank you so much for your support. And I thank all the participants today. I think you are all active and interactive. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Take care.
So, Suresh, sir, for this nice opportunity to all of us. Let us have an enjoyable and nice learning journey together. See you all tomorrow at 4 p.m. The same time, the same link. Bye-bye.